Hello everyone and welcome to my CBS GH spoiler channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Port Charles has seen its share of jaw-dropping moments, mob wars, fake deaths, secret twins, and resurrections that defied all logic. But nothing, and we truly mean nothing, could have prepared General Hospital fans for what Harrison Chase, Josh Swickard, did in the final gut-wrenching seconds of the most explosive episode of February Sweeps. Viewers sat frozen in front of their screens. Some gasped, some cried, some reportedly threw their remotes at the television. And honestly, every single one of them was completely and utterly justified. Because what Chase did, it changed everything. The setup nobody saw coming. Let's rewind. For weeks, Chase has been walking a razor-thin tightrope between his loyalty to the badge and his obsession with bringing Michael Corinthos down. What started as what Chase called the pursuit of justice had slowly, painfully morphed into something far more personal, something his wife, Brooke Lynn Quartermaine, recognized long before he did. She called it revenge, and she wasn't wrong. The keychain debacle had already set the entire Port Charles Police Department on fire. Chase had found Michael's keys on the floor of the Quartermaine mansion, and in a move that blurred every professional line imaginable, picked them up to check if Drew Kane's house key was on the ring. It was. He placed the keys back. Simple enough, right? Wrong, because little wily Corinthos, Viren Weaver, the most observant child in soap opera history, had seen the whole thing. And when Wiley mentioned it to Rick Lansing, Port Charles's most opportunistic legal shark, the dominoes started falling with terrifying speed. Suddenly, Chase wasn't a cop doing a sloppy job. He looked like a cop actively framing an innocent man. Commissioner Dante Falconeri, Chase's best friend, his partner, the man who had gone to bat for him more times than anyone could count, sat across from ADA Justine Turner with a look of absolute devastation on his face. The evidence against Chase was circumstantial, but damning. The chain of custody was broken. The investigation was compromised. Dante had no choice but to announce that if Chase was found guilty of misconduct, he would be fired on the spot. Michael punched Chase square in the face. The Quartermaine mansion erupted. Brooke Lynn looked at her husband like she didn't recognize him anymore. And all the while, the person who had actually planted that key, the perfectly composed, sweetly smiling Willow Tate, watched from the sidelines without a single crack in her porcelain facade. Brooke Lynn's ultimatum hit like a freight train. If viewers thought the keychain fallout was brutal, Brooke Lynn's ultimatum made it look like a gentle disagreement over dinner reservations. She pulled Chase aside and said the words he had been desperately avoiding for months. She told him plainly, if he continued his crusade against Michael, their adoption plans were finished. Not paused, finished. Starting a family had been the one dream holding their marriage together through all the chaos. Chase knew it. Brooke Lynn knew it. The entire viewing audience knew it. And yet, when faced with the choice that should have been the easiest one of his life, Chase hesitated. Because buried somewhere underneath all of his talk about justice and the law and doing the right thing was the truth Brooke Lynn had already named out loud. He couldn't get Willow out of his head. Not entirely. Not the way a married man should be able to. The tension in that scene was suffocating. Brooke Lynn stood her ground with tears in her eyes, waiting for the man she married to choose her, to choose them. The silence stretched so long that viewers genuinely didn't know which way it was going to go. And then came the moment that has set social media on fire and has the entire General Hospital fandom completely divided. Chase, standing at the absolute crossroads of his entire life, his career hanging by a thread, his marriage on the verge of collapse, his reputation in ruins, made his move, and it was the last thing anyone expected. Instead of doing what every instinct must have been screaming at him to do, protect himself, deflect, or stay silent, he walked directly into Commissioner Dante Falconeri's office and told him the truth. All of it. Not the sanitized version, not the carefully worded statement designed to minimize damage. The full, unvarnished, career-destroying truth. He told Dante that he had handled Michael's keys, that he had checked for Drew's key himself, without authorization, without a warrant, without following a single proper protocol. He admitted he had pushed Nathan West to investigate that angle of the case based on something Chase had no business knowing at that point. He laid it all out on the table and offered his badge before Dante could even ask for it. The room went completely silent. Dante, tough, seasoned, unshakable Dante, looked stunned in a way that this show almost never allows him to be. Turner sat rigid in her chair, visibly recalculating everything, and Chase stood there with nothing left to hide behind, looking more like himself than he had in months. The confession didn't save his career. His suspension was made permanent, and termination proceedings are officially moving forward. He will almost certainly lose his badge for good. But in that last-second move, Chase did something that nobody, not Brooke Lynn, not Dante, not even Willow, saw coming. He chose integrity over self-preservation. He chose honesty over the comfortable lie that could have kept everything limping along for a little bit longer. The ripple effects of Chase's confession are going to tear through Port Charles for weeks. With the investigation now thrown into chaos, Willow's carefully constructed plan to frame Michael has become dangerously unstable. The chain of evidence is compromised in both directions now, which means Turner's case against Michael has massive holes in it. But Chase's confession also inadvertently shone a spotlight on the one question nobody was asking loudly enough. If Chase didn't plant Drew's key on Michael's keychain, then who did? Drew, still trapped and communicating only through desperate blinking, may finally find someone who can read what he's trying to say. And if the truth about Willow's manipulation comes out while she's actively campaigning to take Drew's former congressional seat, the public unraveling will be spectacular. Meanwhile, Brooke Lynn's reaction to Chase's confession has left fans fiercely debating. Did he make the right call? Does his last-second act of honesty change anything for their marriage? Or is it too late, far too late? And the rumor that has been circulating on every soap forum and fan account that Josh Swickard may be preparing to exit General Hospital is suddenly looking more plausible than ever. If Chase loses his job, his marriage, and his place in Port Charles society all at once, what exactly is left to keep him there? What comes next will change Port Charles forever. General Hospital has always been at its best when it allows its characters genuine, messy, costly moments of honesty. Chase's last-second confession is exactly that kind of moment, the kind that doesn't come with a reward or a clean resolution, just the raw weight of a choice made at the worst possible time for the best possible reason. Whether Chase stays or goes, whether Brooke Lynn forgives him or walks away, whether Willow's web finally comes unraveled under the pressure of a congressional campaign, all of it is building towards something enormous. Port Charles is about to explode, and fans won't want to miss a single second of it. Stay locked in, because on General Hospital, the last-second moves are always the ones that matter most.